Okay, here we are at the Wilds in Cumberland, Ohio. This is the entrance where you pull into and you park, and then they shuttle you. As you can see, there's a shuttle just now leaving. There's the Ohio flag, and American flag. But you pull in here, and then this is where you park. And then they got shuttles that run pretty much back to back, maybe every 15 minutes. You'll go to this guard shack. He'll tell you where to park, and that's where you pay for your parking if you haven't prepaid. And then you sit on this bench here, wait for the next shuttle.
Well, welcome you guys to the Wilds. Is this your first time?
Yes.
Yeah, you too.
Okay. Once you get off the shuttle, it takes you here to the admissions and concessions. And this is where you get checked in. After you go to the admissions office, which is right there, we have about an hour to kill. We got here a little bit early. We came early because we thought that there would be maybe a place that we can grab lunch. Unfortunately, the place where you grab lunch is like the last stop that they take you to on the tour. So I suggest eating before you come, and then after your 2-hour tour, then you can eat. But this is like an overlook area that you can come to and see. They have like a little machine there that you can put a quarter in and have like binoculars. But this is a lay of the land that you can take a look at. All the roads, the windy roads, that's where your shuttle will be taking you. But this is one portion of it. And then if you look over here, there's over like, I think it's like 9,000 acres of land that the Wild owns. And then this gives you a look at some more. You can see some of the, you probably can't see here on the camera, but there's a shuttle way off into the distance. Okay, so we'll wait for our shuttle, which is at 1:30. Alright, while you're waiting here, they do have zip lining that you can do. You'll start off here and then you'll end over in that direction there. Somebody's getting all harnessed up and getting ready to take off. There he goes.
So welcome to the Wilds, everyone. My name is Alexia, or Lexi for short, and I'm going to be your tour guide out here today. And all of our open air safaris are presented by Pepsi. Now I do have a couple little safety things to make sure everybody is aware of before we get out too far in our tour. The first one is make sure everyone is staying seated while the bus is moving. It is going to get kind of bumpy out here in different areas. I'm going to try my best as much as I can to keep us from bumping too much. But as long as you are staying seated, we should be good. You should not be bumping over the side in with our animals. So stay seated until I get to our animal. When we are near one of them, I'm going to go to a complete stop. And you're going to see me reach over to grab this little black button next to me to my right. That is my air brake. That'll be your cue to get up and look around. Now, because these guys are wild animals, make sure we're keeping our hands inside. They like to come right over to the bus. Now, if you were to bring any food or drinks onto the bus, it is okay to have them on the bus. Just don't eat or drink while we are moving, since it is super bumpy. I don't want to be doing anything when you guys start choking, or you toss things over the side to our animals when they don't need that stuff. Our non-smoking and non-vaping facility, and then last but not least, I would recommend putting your phone on airplane mode. Because it is a self-end dead spot out here in pasture, it will search for service the whole time. And you may not have a battery when you are done. I want to make sure you guys have some really good photos and can use your GPS to get home after the tour today. So that's all my little safety things. So a little bit about the Wilds. So all the land that you saw as we were coming down the hill, that's all of our property. We have about 10,000 acres out here. brought in from the coal company back in 1984. So from the 1940s to the 1980s, it was being strip mined down here for coal. And when it was being strip mined, it looked almost like a moon surface with absolutely nothing on it. Big craters everywhere. So when I say that we reclaimed out here, that means that we put as much topsoil as we could back where it needed to be with some new plant soil in place. Now you will not see a lot of trees out here though, because when we put the soil back, they only put about 6 to 12 inches in different areas, which is not great for a tree to grow successfully, but it is great for our pasture grass that we have put out here. So like I said, we got the land in 1984. We got our first animal out here back in 92, and we started touring in 94. So this is actually our 30th anniversary. And if anybody wants to look at some of our anniversary merchandise in the gift shop at the end, definitely go for it. So what we're traveling through right now is called a Sally Port, and it is just a safety feature for our animals. So if one gate is open, the other has to be shut. And we actually are going to come right back through this Sally Port at the end of our tour. So if it looks familiar at the end, because it is. Now I'm going to be stopping at almost every single gate to make sure that it is completely shut behind us before we move on. So there are going to be very frequent stops. If you want to stand up and look at it, definitely go for it. So these are the Paradavid deer. So Paradavid deer are formerly from China. Now they have been extinct out in the wild for over 100 years. So the only way that we have them today is that a French missionary named Father, or Père David, he went over to China and asked to have several of these guys sent to Europe. Shortly after he asked for those to be sent over, their population basically was decimated because of habitat loss. So we're really glad that he allowed several of those to be sent to other facilities, and we have several other facilities around the world that do have these guys in their animal ranks. Now you may see that some of them are out there in the water. They are a swimming deer. So they actually have webbing between their toes, very similar to a duck. So they actually will swim across some of our lakes out here. So we really never know where we're going to find a couple of them at. So this is our main group with our male and then all of his ladies. But we do have some other males that kind of hang off by themselves. And we should hopefully get to see them later on because they do cross the lake. So we might get to see them a little bit closer up. Also, we're going to see this exact same group at the end of our tour, because we're going to come back this road to our right. And so we're going to make a big loop around here, so don't worry, we will see them again. So they're on the right-hand side of the bus right now. They'll probably be on the left-hand side when we come back. Alright, so we're going to continue moving. I do see a couple other animals in our next section. So let's see if we can figure out what they are. So we're going to be looking really carefully at all of the high grass out here. I do see a couple animals that should be pretty visible. So I'll head over to them first. So these are the greater one-horned Asian rhino. So these guys come from India, Nepal, and Bhutan. So out in the wild about 100 years ago, there was only a few hundred. Now, because of different conservation efforts and breeding facilities, their population on the wild has gone up into the few thousands, which is pretty awesome. But we also have 6 out here with us on our area. We have 4 adult girls and then 2 kids that were just born back last fall. So if I'm right, I believe this is our baby boy. I think we call him Pork Chop. Not sure why. But his mom's name is Sonia, and I think that's her out there. So Sonia is also mom wants two of the older girls out here also. So she's actually, I think, had 7 kids. First 4 were all boys. Then we had the 2 girls and then him. So the boys get to go off in other facilities once they are old enough, but the girls get to hang out here with us and help us with our breeding.
How long are they pregnant for?
So they are pregnant for 16 months.
Oh.
Yeah. Don't want to be a rhino my next flight. So we are always anticipating a baby out here. So I've actually been out here for 2 of the rhino kids. So his older sister, Neely, was born 3 years ago, and she was actually born on pasture, which is pretty awesome. And then I wasn't quite out here last year though, but it was pretty awesome to see really cute babies out here. So his other sister's name is Rohini, and she's about 5 years old. We have all these really cool names, and then his name's Pork Chop. I don't know why. We do have another baby out here somewhere. It's a little girl. Don't know if we'll get to see her or not today, but she is very friendly with the buses. She shouldn't be, let's put it that way. So she's actually hand raised. So her mom is also out here with us, but about a week after she was born last September, there were some medical things happening between them. So we took them back to the barn, and once you separate mom and baby, bond is broken, you have to hand raise the kid. So we had to hand raise her. Her name is Stella, and she has done amazing out here. We have definitely seen her grow into knowing how to be a rhino, because we put her out with the older girls. Definitely we have seen also the older girls being very motherly to her. So she isn't as friendly with the bus as she has been, but she still can be at times. So we might get to see her, we might not. I have not seen her yet today, but you never know. So I'm actually going to make a big loop around. I think the rest of them are down in that lake that I mentioned. So we might get to see them, but they are a swimming rhino. So they are able to keep their head above the water. And it's actually really cool to watch them swim around. You would think that almost a 5,000-pound animal could not swim, but they can. Also, they love to hide from us. So the bigger the animal, the better that they hide. So these are the American bison, so they are from North America. And they were native to this area back several hundred years ago. And they would roam from Canada clear into Mexico. So I think it's pretty cool to have a native animal back out here on this land. So they are a free-roaming bison herd, so we never really know where we're going to find them at. They've actually moved a tiny bit more to the left since I saw them earlier today. But they usually roam all that area on that side of the fence line, clear out to our carnivore area. So we sometimes see them out there. And we try to keep about 100 on property. I don't know if anybody's watched the news in the past, I don't know, month or so out in this area of Ohio, but we actually sent about 75 of these bison west into Native American tribal land, which I think is pretty cool to go see them on their natural habitat out there also. And we even had some of the tribal leaders come here to give them a blessing before they left. So we've thinned out our herd about half already. So there's about 100 out there right now. We had about 175 or so beforehand. Looks like we got a couple pair, David, across the fence over there. So I'm going to fly on up to this one girl that's in the road, so I know that she stays right where she is.
This one right here laying down.
good enough. Alright, so these are our Persian onagers. So Persian onagers are from Iran, or what used to be known as Persia. Now they are actually a wild donkey species. So you might have seen that one rolling around. She does not want to get up. What are you doing, girlie? You've been laying there since I saw you earlier. So these actually are all females, I believe. Sure, we did have a baby out here last year. I just want to make sure that they're not out here with them. So we try to keep only our females out here on pasture because they can get a little aggressive at times. So we do artificial insemination for their breeding. So like I said, we had a baby out here last year. It's actually the first baby that I have ever seen of these guys in the 5 years that I've worked here. These guys also are called the Persian zebra, and they're also the fastest equine species in the world. They get about 43 miles an hour. Now, I have never seen them run that fast because I don't think that you should see a wild donkey run that fast. These guys aren't from the desert area, so they have that very tan colored fur. So they can grow a pretty thick winter coat if they really wanted to. Normally they come over to the bus when it's this hot to get all the flies off of them and cool off, but apparently they don't really care today. And then from this vantage point you can see that we got a rhino down there in the lake to our left. I told you that rhinos swim. She's definitely out there far enough to be able to swim. That's usually where we find our rhinos when it's this hot. I don't know why Sonia and Baby Boy are up there on the hill.
That's cute.
I also don't know where the other 3 are. There's 3 more somewhere. Did you finally get up, girl? Like, what in the world is this thing? When did you show up? Alright.
Aww.
There you go, Megan. Alright. Gonna make sure I don't run over any toes here. Alright, looks like we're good. They love to stand in the road. It's called a donkey jam. Last week on Wednesday, I had them in the middle of the road on the hill that we just came off of. Would not move. 25 minutes later, I'm like, I need help. They're not moving. Alright, last little thing I want to say is there is some deer under that one tree.
Oh, wow.
So those are the Bactrian deer. So we actually will see the rest of the Bactrian deer a little bit later on. So this is just a couple of our males, I think. We have a baby rhino actually in the water behind the bushes down there. So like I said, we will see the Bactrian deer a little bit later on. We actually have the rest of the group later in our tour, so you can see the babies there also. So you can see how big those antlers are on the top of their head. They can get up to about 30 pounds for a set of antlers. And they just lost all their velvet in like the last week or so. So these are the antlers they'll have for the rest of the summer into fall. Then they'll start making new ones in the spring. Alright, looks like we're pretty clear. Let's try to do this without anybody popping out. lake trail. Now it's used for our zip line shuttling. As our zip line goes clear down to the dock at the bottom of the hill. Alright, if you look right there to our left. Come on, turn back towards us. So this is one of our Szechuan Tonkin. So I like to say that this guy has like 3 animal characteristics to it. It has the body of a bear, the head of a guinea pig or a gerbil, and then the horns of a bison. Now these guys come from western China, so they are really good climbers because they do live up in the mountain ranges out there. And if we wait long enough, maybe it'll come towards us, I don't know. There is another one kind of hiding up behind the trees, but I don't think they're going to move right now. So we usually have about 50 of them. Not sure where the rest are right this second. But like I said, they are really good climbers, so they love the hill to our right-hand side on near the lake. They also are really good swimmers. So we didn't know a lot about them because they can't really be studied out in their native range. So the first thing we learned is that they are great swimmers. They actually have a waterproof oil in their fur. So normally they're on the other side of the lake to my right, but we found them on this side. So one day we went, okay, we're going to put that in their information book.
What was the name again?
Szechuan Tonkin.
Tonkin?
Well, where did he go?
He's just behind the tree.
Okay, I maybe can move up and see if we can see him, but I'm not going to make any promises. But he has been moving a little bit here. Studied out in their native range. We've actually had Chinese scientists come here to study them because they do exhibit their natural behaviors. Like I said, if you do all 10, you end up down at the dock and then get shuttled back up to the top of the hill where I took you guys up at. Down there in a little pond.
Oh, look at that. Those are pretty.
So these are actually our bachelor male Paradaphids. So they kind of hang out over here until it is time for them to go over and try to find a lady.
Those are pretty, aren't they? Look at them.
I told you we would probably see them up close. They're probably the closest that you'll get to a Paradaphid deer right now.
Look at the basin.
And you're going to see that he's super dirty. That's actually part of their mating ritual. They'll get as dirty as they can be. So laying in the mud, pee, poop, laying crap onto their antlers and vines on their antlers. And then they'll go over to the lady and burp in her face.
That's cool, isn't it?
It makes babies. So I'm going to let that be with those guys, but I would naturally not let any male on this bus do that to his lady. There should be a couple more up here also that kind of not as dirty as those two. There's one out there in the distance on the other bank, and then there's one kind of down here in the mud under the trees. And then we're going to come see these guys. These are the Przewalski horses. So I'll stop at these three for right now, and then if the other ones want to come towards us, that's fine. So the Przewalski horse comes from Mongolia. So they kind of have an interesting look to them, which is fine. They also have an extra set of chromosomes than a domesticated horse would. So technically they are a wilder horse. Now these actually were the first animal species we had here at the Wilds back in 1902. So if you were to look at any of our 30th anniversary merchandise, you would see them as one of the pictures on there. It's surprising that after almost 32 years that we still have this species on property. Now we have added to our group. When I first started here five years ago, we only had like 4 on property, and they like to, or on this pasture, and they love to be up in the trees. I'm glad that when we got more of them, they have wanted to be more visible. And we also added a male into the mix 2 years ago. His name is Finnegan, or Finn for short. And I'm trying to see his numbers, I think 12. I don't know where he is right now. So all of them do have numbers on their butts. That's how we identify them. That's also why we had numbers on the onager butts, if anybody saw those. That's just how we identify them. Because we can't do ear tags, they are a breeding species, so they like to tear their ear tags out because they think they're bugs. So they do have a kind of an interesting look to them. So if you look at their hair, it looks like they have a little mohawk. That is actually how it naturally grows. We have not cut any of their hair at all. So I would say they look like they're going out to like a little rock concert. And then we also have used these guys for tracking research for their wild cousins. So the way that we have found for tracking that has been helpful is to put a little wire in their tail. They could care less if it's in there or not. It feels just like a piece of hair. So it definitely has taught us that we could probably stick these in the wild horses out in Mongolia and try to track them. I'm surprised they're not coming over towards the bus. Apparently they're not that hot. Normally if they were really wanting to see us, they would come over to the bus. This time of day they should be out and playing around, but you never know. So when I drop you guys off where that bus is sitting right now, you will go up the walkway. And on the left-hand side, you should be able to see some African painted dogs. I think they're all probably so it is about 2:20. So about 2:50 or so, you need to be meeting me where that lady is standing in the pavilion. I will pull the bus around. Stay in the pavilion until I get the bus.
All right, this is the thing that I was most looking forward to seeing. African painted dogs. Just so happens that the thing that I was most looking forward to seeing is the most vicious animal they have on their property, they said. There's one in the distance over there. There's two of them actually by that fence line, and one soaking in the shade right there underneath the tree.
Oh, he's fat.
All right, looks like that's a big old groundhog or
I think it's a beaver.
or a beaver.
Groundhogs are more brown, I think. Oh, he's gonna move here in a minute.
Do you think his name is Bucky?
I think so. Is he a beaver? Look at his tail. I don't know. It's not a groundhog though, right? Tail. Oh yeah, I see it. There's one under that cabin thing too, right beside it.
Sitting in the shade.
Yeah.
Looks like a fox.
Yeah, it does.
So it looks like we got some ostriches up here in front of us. Once the gate's shut, I will go right up next to the one near the road. So both ostriches are female. Just be aware, if she does come over to the bus, I would definitely move unless you want to lose your phone. She likes to steal things. So like I said, these are both female. We do not have any males on pasture with them. They are just kind of here to live out their best life. So we will not be getting any baby ostriches, though they do still lay eggs. We usually pick them up, paint some logos on them, and then sell them in the gift shop. And if you're wondering, well, how big is an ostrich egg? It is equivalent to about 24 chicken eggs if they were all put together. So it's quite massive. So like I said, they do get to live out their best life out here with us. So they can be a little sneaky with us at times. So I know you can maybe see her eyes a little bit easier, the one facing us, but she has her eyes kind of closed. What are you doing, girl? But they have the largest eyes of all land animals. Their eyes are actually bigger than their brains. Their brains are only about the size of a peanut. What are you doing with your eyes, girl? Are you like trying to take a nap while standing up? They also have two toes on their foot. They are called the ripping claw and the balance toe. And they also can run about 42 miles an hour. Now they don't normally follow the buses, but sometimes they like to. And it can look like a scene at Jurassic Park.
Now you never will.
Apparently our camel saw something within the truck. Now they don't normally are in this area. They've been enjoying their freedom a couple times. To our left while we got them kind of hanging out. So these are the Grevy zebras. So the Grevy zebra are the largest zebra species in the world. our one baby boy, and then the second one's back here, kind of bringing up the back. So they are just about a year old. So these zebra are pretty cool, I know, to watch. If you can kind of see how the sun's hitting off their stripes. Are they black and white? Nope, they're not black and white. They're actually dark brown and white. So you can definitely tell that they have that brown coloring on their ears and on their nose. They could care less where we are sitting, I guess. So the two boys are named Indy and Memphis. So Indy's name is Indy because he was born on July 4th, which is short for Independence. And then Memphis is the son of Presley. Now you will not see the dad out here right now. His name is Two Step. But we hope that they have some of his really cool characteristics because he likes to dance for us. That's how he gets the attention of the ladies. Now each zebra stripe pattern is unique to them. It's like they're wearing their fingerprint at all times. Now if they were in a big group out in the wild and they all kind of were smushed together, they would not be able to figure out where one begins and one ends when a predator looks at them. Alright, I'm going to try to get us right up next to our camels. Now, I'm going to give you a heads up. The one that looks really shaggy might come over and put his head in. If he does that, I will pull him away. Alright, so these are our Bactrian camels. So the shaggy one, it looks like he needs to have a shave. That is Brutus. And then the other one is our female, and her name is Lolly. Now you're going to see that they kind of have a different color to their fur also. It's very similar to the Banteng, where the males and the females are a little bit different. So these guys come from Mongolia and China. And they are actually the ambassadors for their wild cousins. So out in the wild, their population is going down because of habitat loss and breeding with domesticated camels. Now these guys are technically a domesticated camel, but they are, like I said, ambassadors for their wild cousins. So it looks like Brutus has decided he wants to shed his winter coat in the middle of July. So they do have a really good winter coat. As you can see right there. Nope, you're not getting in front of me. I'm sorry. If you can be a good boy, I will let them take one picture of you. Nope, Lolly, not a good choice. If we move away from the pavilion, usually they stop. That's when they take a picture now. Alright, so like I was trying to say with Brutus, now they can withstand temperatures of -40 to over 100 degrees, so they do get to stay out for the winter. They make a really thick winter coat, and no, we do not help them shed it. That's why if we come out here, we are not allowed to just pull it off of them. We have to let them naturally shed that out. So we got our giraffes over here to our left-hand side. So we actually have two different types of giraffes. We have the reticulated and the Maasai. So the reticulated is actually the one to our left-hand side of the feeding trough, and his name is Tuffy. So he is reticulated where he has almost like the shape of like spots in his fur. And then the Maasai have almost like a leaf-like pattern in their fur. Now we only breed our Maasai, so you might see a couple babies out here on pasture. So you will not see any of the babies' dad out here. His name is Raha. Now if Tuffy is out here, Raha can't be. So there are times times where you can sometimes see Raha over the hill. The barn is just on the other side. So sometimes if we do let the ones that are in the barn come up to the fence line. About the giraffes, I don't know if you can see how the one is licking the pole. That's actually a natural behavior for them. They love the taste of wood. I don't know why. And you can also see that their tongue is kind of like a bluish purple color, and it can get up to about 18 inches long. And then the things on the top of their head are not horns like a lot of people think. They're actually bone protrusions off their skull, covered in fur. Now Tuffy's a little special. You might see he has a third little bump right in the middle of his forehead. We don't know why he has that third one. Or we also don't know why they use those, or how they use them. Now when these guys are walking, they are very similar to a camel where they go one side of their body, then the other. It may look like they're in slow motion, but they actually can move pretty well. Now if they were to get spooked or just want to take a nice little run around out here, they do go front feet, then back feet. And then we also have a shade structure to our right hand side, and you might see that that branch has very little trees, or not trees, leaves left. So the giraffes like to come over here and kind of eat those. They also like to strip the bark off. So you can see that some of the other branches that we had out here this week are on the ground, and all the bark is pretty much torn off. So it's also kind of a natural behavior for them. They love to kind of have that enrichment. So we're going to head on up to the gate, but I'm going to have to probably call in that those guys are standing right in the middle of it.
Look at the goats in the middle of the road. Look at that.
We got all kinds of animals up here. So I'm going to scoot down just a tiny bit away from the gate so those guys don't go right back up to it. Alright. You guys can stand up and look around. So we got all kinds of animals out here. So let's talk about the white and tan ones that were blocking the gate for a minute. So those are the scimitar horned oryx. So the scimitar horned oryx are the second oryx that I said we could probably see today. They also come from Africa, but they get their name because of their horns. They look like scimitar swords.
Everybody look at me. Look. Okay.
When they got over there. And they also have a really cool body body organ, there we go, that's what I wanted. So they have a specialized kidney where they can take the water out of the food that they eat, store it in there, and if they are without food or water for any reason, they can use that for survival. And then these darker animals with the horns, that kind of look like a goat mixed with like an antelope, those are the eland. So eland are from Africa. And like I said, they kind of look like an antelope mixed with a goat. These guys also have two twists in their horns. That is called the common twist. So sometimes that's called the common eland. And then we got rhinos. All kinds of rhinos on both sides of the bus. You might see a little baby walking to our left. there's actually two babies over there. One's standing up, one's kind of laying down back here. So these are the southern white rhino. They come from southern Africa. So I said we have tons of babies on here. We do. They are the fifth generation that we've had out here that are removed from their wild ancestors. So we are actually the only facility outside of Africa to ever have fourth and fifth generation removed from their wild ancestors, which I think is pretty cool to have that distinction.
That's pretty cool.
Now you're going to see that our rhinos have all kinds of shapes of horns. It is actually based on their preference of what their horn looks like, so they do shape it based on what they like. So there are long and pointy, there could be short and stubby. Definitely up to that rhino's preference. Now our rhinos do not have very good hearing. Not hearing, my goodness, I am struggling today. Sorry. Eyesight, there we go. So they do use their hearing and sense of smell to figure out where things are. So they may not know that we're sitting here, but they can hear us. And then they also use their sense of smell with the poop pile that you see out here. So they actually will take their bathroom break in almost the exact same place, and then they can take a whiff of the poop and try to go track their friend. We like to call it Rhino Facebook. Now our male is also very curious and sniffing poop when he's trying to figure out what lady to go after for breeding. Now very similar to the other rhinos, these guys are pregnant for about 16 months. And we usually don't know that a rhino is pregnant up until about halfway through her pregnancy.
How long does theirs last?
Theirs is about 16. Yep. So both types of rhinos we have here are about 16 months for getting a baby. So if we were to breed our ladies like this summer, we probably would not have any babies until next winter. Now it looks like I see a couple of rhinos under our one shade structure up here, so I'm going to see if I can get us a little bit closer just for a minute. I think there may even be a baby up there. So I'm going to head on down the hill, make sure there's nothing kind of around us here.
Oh, he's scratching his back. He's scratching his back.
For a second, because once I go past that one pole, I can't promise anything if we'll be able to see them better. Why don't I scoot up just a tiny bit more here? Whoop. Alright, I'm going to do one more, see if I can get on the other side of the pole. Because we got lots of poles out here, I don't want to have one kind of in your way here. That's a better picture.
These are good ones.
266 to the survey.
Okay.
Hey, is, Aubrey, like, you know, that her guest left the city cup on the back of her bus? I picked it up. I'll take it to the gift shop if I can't find a bus to give it there sooner than I'll get there. The mama is very protective of our kiddos. Left. There's a couple males on the right. And I see some younger ones as we're making the corner here. So these are those Bactrian deer that we saw earlier with the males with the ginormous antlers. So these guys come from Asia. So out in the desert, that's why they kind of have that sandy color to their fur, where they can actually blend in with the taller grass. You might see some of our younger ones out here. We've got a real young one right here to our left. So they are very similar to a white-tailed deer with the white spots. You're very cute. I think they're like 2 or 3 weeks old. Then we have like I think 5 or 6 out here now, and they like to play tag. I'm going to see if I can inch up so you guys can actually get a view of the baby without the mirror in the way here. So these guys can be very skittish, sometimes going real slow if they're right near the road. I attempted to get you a baby picture. There is a tiny one down there swimming.
There's also one in the grass.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they like to hide from us. I told you, they like that taller grass out here. I'm going to continue to inch up because we do need to keep going. These are the Bactrian deer. So these structures up here on the hill to our right as we make the corner, this is called Owl Post, and we hold a couple different cool things here at So if you have really good zoom, this should be a good picture.
I currently have 9. If I go to have to prove out on the bench.
We're out here today and learned something new about one of these types of animals. And by taking the tour out here with us, you're helping with conservation of all these species. And our mission out here is empowering people saving wildlife. I'm giving you all the little tips and tricks about all these guys. That's what we're doing. Saving these guys, showing what you could do to help. So we're going to go back through this Sally Port, like I said, about 5 minutes or so. We'll drop you guys off.
Okay, and that was the end of the tour. Now we're going into the area where you can grab a bite to eat.
Thank you, little girl.
Right to the left is where you can eat. To the right is a gift shop. All kinds of wilds merchandise here. Pans and necklaces and pins. All kinds of drink tumblers and coffee cups. And then you got all kinds of t-shirts that you can buy. Looks like they have merch here for babies even. And toddlers. Buy some rocks to fill a bag. Toys for the kids. They got all kinds of plushes.
I thought the first time I was in there, they were supposed to be the other way, like on that. Did I keep it? Like, we all were like this. She's like, this must be how they're supposed to be. I did that same thing. So I was like, they're made out of.
Okay, this is what the menu looks like. Lots of burgers and hot dogs. They have Dippin' Dots. And then after you order, there is a dining room area here where you can sit down and eat your meal. This is what it looks like. Just like so. Alright guys, thanks for watching this tour of the wilds.